Hello and welcome to Viewpoint. I'm Valbona. During March 21st, 23rd, a number of security experts gathered in Kyiv for a seminar for the representatives of the government of Ukraine on defense and security reforms. To discuss the seminar and security threats in the Black Sea region, join me now, Professor of National Security Studies and Director of Black Sea and Eurasia Program of George Marshall European Center for Security Studies, Ms. Valbona Zeneli. Professor Zeneli, welcome to Viewpoint.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So, Professor Zeneli, one of the sessions you were moderating was on reforming the defense sector in Ukraine. And traditionally, Ukrainian army has been very reluctant to any changes. And during this session, you had a number of speakers. You have Deputy Defense Minister, you had other Ukrainian military experts. So from what you are hearing from these people, from the government, senior government officials, Ukrainian government officials, is there a real will to reform the defense sector in Ukraine?
Well, thank you for this question. It's very important. As you rightly mentioned, the Marshall Center put together this three-day seminar together in cooperation, in partnership with the Parliament, with the Verkhnova Rada. And the main issues that were discussed during the seminar are still being discussed. The seminar will end tomorrow, are defense and security issues, and we're looking at the challenges and opportunities. Let me explain by saying that this is a program that is part of the outreach activities of the Marshall Center, and this is the third one for Ukrainian senior leaders. We have held two others at the Marshall Center in Garmisch back last year. Marshall Center was created back in 1993 with the objective, with the mission to create a stable environment through promoting understanding, democratic institutions, and dialogue. So this was also the aim of this seminar. So we're not here to teach Ukrainians, both members of the parliament or representatives of other ministries, what to do. We're here to create an environment where they can discuss about challenges. They can discuss about the severity of these challenges, but also opportunities. And on the other side, assess options and hopefully come up with the right decisions.
So, Professor
This
Zeneli,
environment is very important for creating trust. And this is what I think was achieved also during the first panel, where we had representatives of the main institutions that are responsible for the defense reform in Ukraine. You're talking about the will, if there is a will. I think there is a will, and there is a full understanding on all, the whole of government, but also the whole of society. There is a need to reform the defense sector. However,
but apart from the will, are you seeing the real steps being taken by the government to do this? Because the will and the talks that, yes, we will reform is good, and we've all been hearing that for months. Ukrainian people have been hearing that for months from the government. But no real actions, on the other hand, are being done. Do you see that this is being done?
I think some actions have already been taken. Also the fact that...
Are they enough? Are these actions which have been taken enough?
The truth is that everyone, knows about the challenges and difficulties that Ukraine is going through. But on the other side, it's very difficult to assess, the options, the complexity of finding solutions to these challenges. So what we are trying to do is have this comprehensive reform, comprehensive approach on reform. You cannot, reform the defense sector separately from the whole of institutions reform. So it's not only challenges related with, external, but it's also internal challenges that have to do with the rule of law, that have to do with fighting against corruption, with recovering, the economy. You cannot build a strong defense reform if you do not have the funding also to support it. I think what is important in this case is that the civil-military cooperation is proceeding in the right direction. The civilian control of the armed forces also was one of the topics in our seminar. We brought here parliamentarians from other countries, from Germany, from Estonia, that shared their experience with members of parliament on the oversight over the security and defense institutions. So I think we're moving in the right directions. Progress is seen, but there's more need, and there are so many other challenges up there. I would also like to say that on one side, when there's a crisis, there's always an opportunity for faster progress on reforms. What is important for Ukraine right now is that there is much attention also of international community to support Ukrainians in this reform road. So that's why it's important to catch the moment and go ahead with reforms.
Again, yes, there is a need for reform. Yes, during the times of war like this, which Ukraine is facing, the reforms need to be done very quickly and very swiftly. Do you see that there is this speed in the Ukrainian government?
I think there's the will, and I see progress. You know, from my perspective as an academic, you should not forget I'm an academic. I think there's in the right direction.
I understand. Professor Zeneli, you are the expert in the Black Sea security. And in the last 2 years, there have been major shifts, I would say, in this area. There is a Russian occupation of Crimea Peninsula. There is a very recent military standoff between Turkey and Russia. What does that mean for the security in this area?
Well, many challenges from the regional security perspective. I'll answer to your question from academic perspective, but what I'd like to do, I'd like to tell you about a course we had just a month ago at the Marshall Center. We brought together more than 40 security experts from 11 countries, or more than 11 countries, that we discussed issues that are related with the regional security from the East. So what's happening? And it was interesting to see that we divided the experts into 4 different groups to look from various perspectives: United States, Russia, Ukraine, and also European Union. And also the findings of these working groups also were used at the Munich Security Conference. So we wanted to hear the perspective of experts that are living in the region on the security challenges. And yes, there are many security challenges. And
so what did you hear from them? What did you hear from these people who live there?
The security perspective, it's very challenging right now for the whole region, not only for Ukraine. It's not only regional security threats, but also transnational security threats. And we were talking just before this about, the bombing in Belgium. So many of the challenges are also transnational. I think there is a strong need for cooperative approaches to these challenges. And this is how the countries can actually have to face these issues.
Professor Zeneli, in the past several months, there was a strong push by the White House to bring more women into the defense sector area. And traditionally, it has been a men's-only play field. For you, as a female specialist in the defense and security areas, do you think that women can bring something unique to this area and to tackling the security problems that the world is facing right now?
Absolutely. I'm standing here in front of you. So, yes, the Women's Security, Peace and Security Program is a very important program of the U.S. government. And it's very important to understand that this is a national security program. It's not a social program. So that means it's very strong, embedded in the national security structure. So it's about programming and putting gender security and strengthening the role of women throughout the whole government. Now, we at the Marshall Center have also a representative on women, peace, and security. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to put issues that are related to gender security in all our courses, but also looking at the number of participants that come from various countries. We're increasing the number of women that are operating in the security sector. Also in Ukraine, I'll say. I've been lucky to have met great women coming from the parliament or other institutions that have been at the Marshall Center, or, we have visited them there. One of them is, for example, the Deputy Speaker of the Parliament, that she's co-hosting with us this seminar, which is Ms. Oksana Siroid. So I think, yes, women can give a lot to the security environment. And, well, let's not divide women and men. If you don't get 100% from the talent, from the skills of the population, then solutions will not be complete. So this is why I think more women are needed. It's not just the right thing to do. I think it's a smart thing to do, because women have to give to the security sector.
Professor, my last question, if you allow, can we go back to the realities of Ukraine? A lot of security experts have said that this Russian aggression in Ukraine is a threat to the peace and security on the entire European continent. Do you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. This is a threat to the peace and security. And this is why, all the United States, but also the European countries are fully engaged to work on a peaceful and diplomatic solution of this threat. But absolutely, this is considered a threat to peace and security.
And now the final question, do you think that these diplomatic steps will be sufficient to resolve this crisis?
The diplomatic solution is always the best solution to these problems.
I understand, Professor Zeneli. Well, let's see how it develops here. Many thanks for finding the time to come and talk to us. We were discussing the reform of the defense sector in Ukraine and the new security environment in the Black Sea region with Professor of National Security Studies and Director of Black Sea and Eurasia Program of George Marshall European Center for Security Studies, Ms. Valbona Zeneli. I'm Valbona. Thank you for watching Viewpoint.